Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and let's have a frank conversation. Really frank, really honest. Do I hate my new 2022 Toyota Tundra? Now, why would I say that? Why would I even bring that up? Well, I can tell you that I'm seeing it a lot in the comments. I'm seeing a lot of people say that. I've seen it from other journalists have been asked this question. It seems like it's a very common refrain, which I find, well, fascinating. And there's a lot of conversation online that I've been getting in the comments the last couple months about how this truck is a lemon, how it's sad that YouTube influencers are being paid to say all these good things about this truck, and how obviously this whole thing was a massive mistake and they had 10 years to develop this truck and this is the best they can do. Look, I get that there's probably some disappointment in some of the things that came out with this truck. I get there's some disappointment in anything to come out with, right? Change is hard. Change sucks. People don't always like it. I have been doing this job for over 10 years now, and I gotta tell you what, I've seen more conversation about this truck than I've seen newer trucks coming out in other brands. There's a lot of conversations, a lot of fever, how do you say the word? There's a lot of angst, a lot of concerns, and you know, it seems like, and it's really odd to me, that if I say anything about this truck that I don't like something, that it becomes this thing where I only say negative things about the Tundra. I'm only a negative journalist. Or influencer, I guess is the word I use, at least for me. Which is not the case. And so if you've been a fan of this channel at all in the last couple of years, I actually was thinking I was being too positive on a Tundra. You know, I tend to be very critical on new trucks because they're $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and yeah, I get to drive a lot of them. And so yeah, I have some critiques about things. So, you know, starting with this truck, my critique had been the styling, right? I'm not a big fan of the mustache, and I want tow hooks. You know, I think that's a fair criticism. And guess what? I can fix that. It's simple. I can vinyl wrap the mustache. Aftermarket companies are making tow hooks. That's a simple fix. Okay, not a big deal. Now, why did Toyota not put tow hooks on here? I think it's completely safety. Look at the Land Cruiser, look at the LX600. No tow hooks. They're no tow hooks at all. Because as crash testing improves from NHTSA and IIHS, they make these tests harder and harder to pass. Because this platform of the Tundra won't be redesigned for the next 10 years, they're anticipating future tests are going to cause problems with safety awards. And they got to get those tow hooks to be so strong they don't move in a frontal crash, which is really hard, right? So here's the deal. I did a story on this years ago. Bull bars. Remember bull bars in front of these trucks and roo bars, they call them in Australia? Well, those are actually really unsafe for your truck, even though you see them quite a bit. Because if you were in a front-end collision accident or you ran somebody, that piece of metal on the front of that truck is going to inhibit the safety collision systems and the way this truck is meant to be crashed, right? Popcorn kernel, people in the cab stay safe, the rest stuff just kind of implodes in together. That stuff delays that, even like a millisecond, which is in an accident, well, it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It causes lots of problems with your body. And so I can see the reason behind it. And Toyota is a very conservative company. They've done this in the past. You guys missed out. The Toyota Tacoma has a weird bumper on the front. That was for a future pedestrian crash test they were thinking was coming down the pipeline, which may still happen. And so they were preemptively making their truck safer because they know that consumers like you search for trucks based on safety. It does happen. That 5-star ratings, all those good crash ratings, like that, that's a huge selling feature for a lot of consumers. They want to have a vehicle that's very safe, and with families driving and using vehicles more often than they have in the past, yeah, you want your family to be safe in the truck you're driving. That's a huge issue. So I anticipate we're going to see Tacoma, 4Runner, we're going to see more and more of those trucks lose tow hooks and do things differently because of safety ratings. Now, I've criticized the infotainment system mightily, and I think it's very warranted on this criticism. However, understand, this isn't a Tundra-only infotainment system. This is throughout the Toyota Lexus lineup. And so my hope is through my criticism or my videos on this, that I can help that team make the product better, which means 5 years from now, this system is better. That's my goal. And my goal is to share my frustrations with you so you can understand what's going on, and then do videos like they fixed it. Like, I had a problem with this system, and they fixed it, and I did a video on how the fix happened and the good way that you can fix it. So there, sharing information about a problem I had that they fixed So good. So we're sharing information here, and that's exactly what I want the channel to be. There's going to be conversations about stuff, we can talk about stuff, and fixing stuff. Now, there's been a lot of conversations about this new engine. I think there's a lot of people that want to see this engine blow up and go away. I think there's a lot of people that want it to die in a fiery bally crash. There's a lot of criticism about it. And so I think there's a couple things to keep in mind here. First, the 3.5 liter V6 is not the Lexus engine, even though they share the same number. It's a different engine. This is a ground up redesign. And the reason for that is, I would guess, is they probably started developing this truck about 2-3 years ago. And as soon as they went to develop it, they knew that they couldn't use this and the V8. They knew 2-3 years ago they couldn't use it. The writing's been on the wall for that for a long period of time. And so because this engine is also using the Land Cruiser and the LX600, which is sold globally, and you have Euro 6 standards, even much higher than EPA standards, and I'll get to that in a second, they knew they couldn't keep the V8. So, and you can't do like a V8 with more speeds and get better fuel economy. If you look at the numbers from like Chevy and Ford, and right there I'm driving a Nissan Titan XD that you can't see on camera. From Denver, I drove it up. It's got a new 9-speed behind the 5.6 liter V8, and I got 14 miles per gallon. 14. That's pretty bad, and have a lot of emissions for that. So as we saw, if you watch news at all, Friday we had an announcement on this new Biden's new, oh my god, this guy, 40 miles per gallon, the world's going in the hellhole, you can't get 40 miles a gallon on a pickup. Well, guess what, you don't need to. It's corporate average fuel economy. Most full-size trucks meet that already with the hybrid engines. With the V6 engines, the V8s just don't. And so what they're targeting is over the corporate average fuel economy for the entire fleet. That means they can sell a Prius, they can sell a plug-in whatever, they can sell a BZ4X and get a credit, and they can apply it towards a truck, or they can take that and make the overall fuel economy better across their fleet. I mean, so it's not a big deal. I've said for a while now, though, that this 3.5 V6 is probably a 10-year engine, because as they ramp up more emissions, I bet you this engine's got to get changed to meet those future engines. So I don't ever see this engine lasting. Not lasting for reliability for life, I'm saying for in a product cycle that long. The current EPA targets are 202 grams per mile. Euro 6 targets are 98 grams per mile. Okay, so that's, as Euro 6 gets tighter, they're gonna have to change this engine, because they build this engine in North America, but they use global vehicles. And so you're gonna have some problems meeting emissions, I think, in the future with that happening. That's why that hybrid will be even better emissions, and it'll probably eventually start doing more things to make emissions even better. So let's talk about long-term reliability. That's been a huge topic. These turbos won't last. Turbos don't last at all. Turbos don't last. They destroy. Turbos are terrible. Well, that hasn't really been the case. Turbos are here to stay. We've been using turbos now for the last 4 or 5 years. Most brands adopted turbos early on. Toyota was a little bit late to the game with doing turbos. They doing some other stuff. They were doing their Atkinson cycle, different things, direct import injection, things to get around that, but they need turbos. I mean, turbos are a good way to get more horsepower, more torque, and at times better fuel economy. So we've used turbos. I think even some trains have turbos now. Some of my trucks have been used turbos for years. So turbos are here to stay. We have turbos in 3/4 tons and 1 tons. I mean, they're out there, and the same company's been building those. They're probably Borg Warner turbos. There's only a couple companies that build turbos in the world, and so they're pretty well known for building good turbocharged engines. And so what I see is we have a wastegate issue. We have a part issue, which is really a part supply issue. If we had those parts for the wastegate customers, they could stop in their truck, get it fixed same day, get back on the road. It wouldn't nearly been the same type of angst about that problem. We wouldn't be able to talk about being, oh, it's a lemon, it's got all these problems. Well, it's a simple fix. Now, if they weren't able to fix the problem, if there was something major going on beyond that, yeah, I could see there being concern about that, but it's a part issue. And this happens a lot. I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you see something online of an issue, then you go on to another forum, you see somebody has a problem, it just builds that prophecy in your head. For example, there's a valve lifter issue with GM trucks. People think that that's across the board, all GM trucks have lifter issues. Looked into it, it was like a 6-month span of bad parts. That's what it was. Cam phaser issue was happening for a while in Ford vehicles. I've looked up online a few times, having a guy do some deep dive research into it. It was back in like 2014. Okay. EcoBoost used to have water used to come inside the charge jack cooler in humid areas and cause the engine to go in limp mode. They fixed that. Only been the thing. Tundra, the 5.7 used to have an air injection pump issue. Used to have cam tower, used to leak with oil. I mean, you've had some problems with that engine too. It's not bulletproof. People point to this thing, million mile trucks were great. They just put oil in them, they just drove them. Well, guys, I wrote the stories in a million mile trucks. Those were my stories. And I can tell you that they had some problems. There were some oil pumps. There were some water pumps that went bad. Vic lost reverse in his transmission. Yeah, the same engine, same transmission, but there were some concerns. The reason why those trucks did so well is because they were driven a lot. A lot. Machinery loves to be driven. Why are there so many semis with millions of miles on them? Because they love to be driven. And so if you want to keep this truck for a million miles, I suggest you start driving it like a lot right now, because you need to keep those engine components and things lubricated and going. And the best way to do that is not to park it, is to use it. It's a piece of machinery. So we got to keep using that. So yeah, I mean, I've had my criticisms of this truck, but I should. My goal is to make this truck better for you future consumers. And so do I hate it? No. Why would I hate it? It makes no sense for me to hate this truck. Do I love it? Of course not. I don't love any of the trucks I buy. they're a business. I mean, for me, it's like, I want to buy these trucks because I love deep diving and stuff. I love giving guys the information you want to know, and I'm gonna sell it. If I fall in love with a truck, I'm screwed because I need to sell it. Like in my head, I'm thinking about the next truck and the truck after. That's where my head is going. So yeah, there's no like, I don't love it, I hate it, whatever. I like it. It's comfortable. I did a 2,000 mile road trip and I got out. I felt great when I got out. It was nice, comfortable to drive. I really do like lane steering assist. I thought I wouldn't like it, but I actually like it now. Infotainment system, I've talked to those issues. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it's powerful. Do I wish I had a V8? Yeah, I wish I had a V8. I don't like change either, but that's what's happening. Change is happening. So yeah, I just found the whole conversation kind of weird. I wanted to make sure I did a quick video on this. So I'm going down to TFL this week, gonna do a podcast with Roman, do some videos with Andre, or however it works out. I don't know what the exact plan is at the moment, but I know they can talk about it, and I just want to put it out there on public notice, public stage, whatever. I don't hate the new Tundra. Do I love it? No. Do I wish the styling was a little bit different? Yes. Do I wish there's things a little bit different? Yes. Do I do the same thing at every truck? Yeah. Go back and watch my Ford Power Boost videos. I freaking tore that thing apart. Go back and watch any of the videos I've done. I mean, I think my criticism of myself was, am I being too positive about the truck? Because I want to make sure I have pros and cons. And so that's what I was focusing on. But yeah, just for these comments and people I'm seeing online and forums and stuff and other journalists I'm talking to, I don't hate the new Tundra. I wish there's things that are done better. Yeah. Is it a world beater like that marketing guy said? No. Well, that's marketing. Come on. That's what those guys say all the time. So is it going to be as reliable as the 5.7? Boy, I hope so. The thing I think is funny with that, I'll make one last point, is that 5.7 was a ground up redesigned engine from Toyota too. So yeah, they did the same thing with the 3.5. It's the same process. So how are you going to say that this 3.5 is not going to be the same reliable as 5.7 when Toyota developed both engines in-house, ground up redesigns? So, I mean, clearly they know how to do it. Yeah, they have a turbo issue. Oh, geez. Tell me if you've heard of a first-year vehicle that has no issues. Every vehicle I've had issues. Ford had tons of issues before I sold it. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents. For more, check the video out over here, website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.